Sairam, brothers, sisters, and children. Sairam to all of you. Welcoming all to our online study circle for this month. So for today, we have a brother from Subang Jaya Center to conduct an interesting topic called Health is Wealth. Okay, most of us here know this brother being a Swami's instrument. He has also conducted many satsangs and study circle in our center before. Okay, so let us welcome Brother Professor Dr. Murali to conduct this interesting study circle. Over to you, Brother Murali. Thank you.
Saram, thank you, Brother Murthy. Humble pranam to the Lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. First of all, let me thank Brother Naveen for the beautiful bhajans in honor of Guru Purnima tomorrow. So beautiful bhajans on Guru, yeah. So beautiful. It's been a while since we've met face to face. So nevertheless, we thank technology for still allowing us to conduct sessions in the online world, yeah. Once again, thanks Brother Murthy and Bandar Klang Center for actually inviting us to do the session today. Can you all hear me clearly before I go on?
Yes, Nair, clear, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
Very clear, very clear.
Okay, I'm going to share the slides that will be used for tonight. And let me know if you can see the slides now. Can I?
Yes.
Perfect. So the title of tonight's study circle is Health is Wealth. So if you see this picture, very nice picture from the internet. So just as a flip between H and W, health and wealth. So they are very closely related to each other. Today is, of course, July 23rd, 2021. Again, thank you, Bandar Klang, for having us to do this session. See, if we find in human beings, right, a lot of the times we feel that, okay, I need to be active in my school years and I need to do very well academically. I need to achieve this and that from an academic perspective, straight A's, go to university, a good degree, a good job, you know, and then work very hard. Why then you say, because I want to live comfortably, I must have enough wealth for my later years and so on. But in that process, respected elders, brothers, and sisters, sometimes we become, you know, the word amnesia is used. We forget certain things and we forget fundamental important things in life called health. So therefore, what Swami has said is, one without health cannot achieve any small thing. This is from Swami. So Swami himself stresses so much of importance in terms of how we should conduct ourselves from a healthy living perspective. And today's study circle is based on Baba's own words. So I did a lot of research, not so much research. I just read basically a manual that's available online. I will share. Swami has gone down to very specific details on what we should consume, how we should consume daily food products that we have. So today, that's the theme of the study circle. So it's about eating, it's about drinking, and it's about the mind as well in terms of healthy thinking as well. So on that note, we will start. And I was mentioning to Brother Murthy, so we will do it in a, I'm not sure of the regular format, but the style that we normally do in Subang Jaya is there will be 2 questions for the study circle. And first, we will put question 1, then I will read the question out to you, and then request some responses from the audience for about 5 to 8 minutes. So after that, we will look at, wow, how Swami has answered the question. Does that sound okay with everyone? Hopefully, I'm not torturing you with too many questions tonight.
Sounds good. Sounds
okay,
good. Sounds
thanks.
good.
So I hope that you are with me. So let's quickly look at question 1. This is again from Sathya Sai Speaks, volume 14, December 1978. Wow, Swami said this when I was 7 years old only. A large portion of food now consumed is superfluous. Superfluous here means too much. Man can live healthily on much less. Swami is saying man can live healthily on much less. A good deal of effort and expenditure now spent to cater to taste and to social pomp can be given up, and health too will improve thereby. Moderate food gives excellent health. Eat to live. Do not believe that you live in order to eat. Sathya Sai Speaks, volume 14, December 1978. So, brothers and sisters, respected elders, children, based on the above quotation, based on the above paragraph, as said by Swami, please share. A, what does the above paragraph mean to you? What does it mean to you? What comes to your mind when having read this? So anybody can actually share.
Anyone from the floor would like to answer the question? Can just volunteer, unmute your microphone and answer.
Do not waste food, brother.
Perfect. I think that's one very, very good answer. Do not waste food. Any other responses from the floor?
Sairam,
Sairam.
Just adding on to what Uncle mentioned earlier, do not waste food. I think the do not waste food is not only like probably throwing out in the dustbin or garbage, but also do not waste food by eating, excessively. So what the body needs only. So if you're eating more than that, I think that is also wasting, although it's not in the garbage, but it's in the body excessively.
Correct. Which Swami actually goes on to say the excess food in the body also becomes garbage ultimately. Yeah? So we know the discretion process that we have. Well said. Well said. Any other responses? What does the above mean to you?
There's some responses in the chat on that.
Okay.
I said that eat moderately, avoid food wastage, eat sattvic food, and only cook what's needed.
Perfect. Very, very nice responses. Very, very nice responses. Yeah. So there can be many takeaways from this very small paragraph here and what Swami talks about. So I will actually share later, yeah, after we finish question B. So let's quickly move on to question B. What are practical steps that we can take to ensure that we can live healthier through our consumption of food? Again, what are practical steps in our mind? Maybe you're already practicing this, so please feel free to share so we can learn from each other. What are practical steps that we can take to ensure that we can live healthier through our consumption of food? Anyone can actually share.
Sairam. Yeah. Just this is practical theoretically. I don't know whether I do it, but yeah, maybe like eating not so heavy food and sometimes rich food. I don't know if that's what Swami also means. He says eat moderately and not a lot of whatever, like in the quote that he has said. So yeah, like the choice of food, I think again, like he said, you're trying to satisfy your, is it your social pomp or taste or something like that, he said. So I think that's how we all are now, including myself. So practical step is maybe to try to consciously reduce that. Like, it's like for me, at least, like, I know it's not good, but the desire is there sometimes, so yeah, consciously try to think about that and, make the effort to reduce that kind of food, at least gradually lah. Maybe cannot immediately stop everything.
Well said, Janani. Very, very well said. So there are a few responses here, Naveen. I'll just quickly go through them. One is Nirmala says eat vegetarian food. Okay, good answer. Good thoughts there. Sister Ambiga Devi says take less salt, sweet, oily food and consume a balanced diet. Perfect. Very well said. I'm not sure how many of us follow the health Ministry of Health, and they have this thing in Malay called suku separo, when a plate. So quarter, half. Yeah. So I'm not sure. As standard one, I remember learning that, but I forgot now. As we grow older, especially when it comes to nasi lemak, I tend to have satu penuh nasi tambah, and then a bit of the protein and very little of the sayur, right? So what they basically say is suku separo, half carbohydrate, the plate, one plate, not very big plate, medium sized plate, half of it is carbohydrate, quarter needs to be protein, another quarter needs to be the nutrients from vegetables and fruits. So I think that is very, very important. Swami echoes that as well. Yeah, taking less salt, sweet, very good. Not skipping meal, especially breakfast. Hema, thank you so much for sharing that. A lot of people today, we feel that we need to go on a diet, and they say, okay, I want to be on a diet. So my diet plan is actually I don't consume breakfast and I do intermittent fasting, especially Saturdays, Sundays. What they feel, if I can get up at 11:30 or 12, it means I don't need to have breakfast, but I've already done intermittent fasting. Last night I ate at 12 o'clock at night, and then I slept straight away and I woke up 12 noon next day. So therefore I fasted and I'm on a diet. So sometimes we have that mindset. Yeah. It's very, very important. Yeah, breakfast is the most important meal. Yeah? So that's why the English have a saying. They say breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, dinner like a pauper. So that's what they say. That means breakfast, eat well. Lunch like a prince. Okay, not too bad. A bit less than the king because the prince needs to be very mobile. Dinner, they said like a pauper. Pauper means very little food, just enough to sustain us for that night, for that evening. So very nice responses. Any other responses from anyone? What are some of your own tricks and techniques of healthy living through food consumption?
Anne, again, if I can share.
Please
Not what I do. These are like things that I've heard. I think Swami has said before, eat until like you're not fully full. So it means like when your stomach is like 3/4 full itself, you should realize you should stop. So some of us, me included again, have the habit of like eating until like you feel so full that you can't even get up. So that is not something we should do. I'm saying all the opposite of what I'm doing, I think.
You're not alone. I'm the same. Sometimes I forget how much to eat.
Yeah.
For those of you who know me as a young child, I used to love eating so much. My weight was really, I was basically borderline obese in the past. So now thanks for sharing. Very quickly, we'll go through some of Swami's points on this, some of Swami's, what he has actually said about this, about question 1. So let's look at the answers. Can you see my screen, Naveen, Chandini?
Yeah, can.
So here, again, all of this is taken from Swami's literature. So Swami says, health is the foundation on which human life rests. There is no greater wealth than health. What is the origin of this word health? He even goes on to explain the English word is called health. Then he says the word health in English, it comes from a word called helic, Anglo-Saxon word called helic, meaning that which is sacred and pure. So very powerful when he said, if our health is sacred and pure, then in essence, the life is going to become very beautiful. That's what he's saying. So whatever we are partaking in terms of food, water, and purity of the mind is very, very important. So we'll get on more to that. Again, Swami, it comes from the word helic, health. The body is a combination of different limbs. Swami says, only when all limbs are utilized for sacred purposes can one have good health and happiness. Again, a very important point for us to just ponder upon. He said, sometimes we may have good health, but if that health and wealth, when we add that together, is not used for the purpose of serving mankind, then also Swami says it becomes tamasic. So if it's only for me, my selfish reasons and not for expansion of love for humanity, then it also can become tamasic, that whole purpose of living and good health and happiness. Is something to think about. So when we build our bodies, we're nourishing it with good food, it's to ensure that we live for a long period free of diseases, and then we can actually give back to society. And Swami purports that. For a healthy mind, one should have a healthy body. So again, for the mind to be very healthy, Swami says healthy body is very, very important. And I'm sure we've been through many times the different sheets or the koshas that we have. Pranamaya kosha, Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, and Anandamaya kosha. So as we go deeper, it starts with the physical body. But many of us, we get stuck with the physical body. That's it. And we are not trying to go to the next until we really discover who we really are in this world, in this life. So for healthy mind, Swami says, starts with healthy body. And therefore, he goes on to say that the Atma sustains human life basing on the health of the body and mind. So without a healthy body, we might not be keen for spiritual sadhana. Can you imagine if you're sick today, right? So all of you are here because you're well. So if you are running a cold, if you're having headache, migraine, temperature, and so on, right? We will not be here. So for spiritual consciousness, for awakening of the inner being, for Atmic consciousness, the very important first stage is actually having a healthy mind, a healthy body, and that leads to a healthy mind. That's important. So again here, Swami talks about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Health is a primary prerequisite for realization of 4 objectives of life. So Dharma, I do things in a righteous way, accumulation of wealth in the dharmic manner, fulfilling of what we call desires that are non-binding, desires that take us closer to the Lord, desires that take us closer to understanding who we really are, and therefore being liberated from this whole birth of cycle and death, or a situation of detachment. So again, for that, the healthy body is absolutely important. So again here, Swami goes down to a bit more details, and he goes down to talking about food. And he says food, ahara, that we consume can shape vihara, habit. So what we eat is what we become, he says. Very interesting. And he propagates the consumption of sattvic food. So sattvic food, and we know Rajasic, Tamasic, Sattvic are 3 gunas or qualities or attributes that we have. So he said food plays a very, very important role in that aspect as well. And he also says, but some people will say, okay, from tonight, Brother Murali said, I must eat sattvic food. From tomorrow, I'll become saint. I will only eat very sattvic food. and therefore nothing else, I'll be liberated. Cannot also. Swami goes on and say, okay, fine. We may be already be eating healthy. We may be doing that. We may be consuming sattvic food. However, food alone, he said, is not enough. Habits, as the food enters the mouth, we have also other senses. The other senses, the eyes, the nose, the ears, right? The limbs. So he says, therefore, while food, this is important, see only good. The eyes also must consume good food. The ears must consume good food. The speech must be good. The vak must be good. And the feeling must be pure. So again, food plus management of the senses that we have is very important, Swami. So in essence, Swami implies the organs of senses must be kept pure, coupled with good eating habits to foster our happiness. So to live happy, food is important, but at the same time, mastery of the senses becomes very, very powerful. Yeah. So that's what Swami says. So key takeaway from that probably 10 minutes discussion so far, that what is the key lesson that we can take away based on what Swami is saying. Swami says food consumption alone will not suffice. It's important, yes. What enters the mind, what enters within via organ of senses also influences the mind and thus our experiences. So here there are three keywords: food consumption, talked about that. Then we are also consuming thoughts through different senses that we have, sense organs that we have. Yeah, what we see, what we hear, even that Swami says it's important. The intake of that also has to be sattvic. Yeah, so that's the key takeaway. So then I asked, okay, let's read a bit more. Swami, can you guide in terms of what are some of the foods that we should eat, should not consume, what to do, sattvic? So then again, this very beautiful article came on our part. This is again written by, I can't see it in my screen totally, yeah? Excerpts from a discourse by Swami, and it's written in a book called Sai Prescriptions, published by the Sri Sathya Sai Health and Education Trust. Yeah, so the website is given there, the link is there. Very beautiful article. Swami goes very detailed in terms of certain things. Let me share that. I just share the key points that I was touched by, yeah, what Swami says. So first one, we see a picture of onion here, right? So you're wondering why this place is putting a vengayo here. Let's see what Swami talks about onion. Yeah? So he said there's a popular saying in Telugu, the good done by the onion, uli, is not done by your mother, by your own mother, Tali. You must also take care to avoid excess spice, chili, and salt here. So Swami says onion is very good for health, but it should be cooked in such a way that, you know, it's not too much. I mean, talking about this itself, tomorrow I already had plans for lunch. Is nice vengaya sambal. Now after reading this, the sambal must be just right lah. It cannot be too much chili, too much salt. Yeah, I think one of the sisters also shared that. Swami talked about this. So he does purport the use of onions in cooking. He says it's healthy, but in moderation. Next one, banana. So many people think that sattvic food means fruits and milk. Yeah, true. Many of us say, okay lah, today I'm sattvic, I'm only going to take fruits and milk. This can also be tamasic. How? Hey, why is Swami saying even fruit and milk can be tamasic? How lah, brother? Cannot, but can, because he said if you eat 2 bananas, it's okay. But if you eat 4 bananas, it becomes tamasic. So let me share an experience. There was a year, I think 3 or 4 years ago, I fasted for Navratri. So I told my wife for that 9 days, we shall only do fruit and milk, nothing else for 9 days. And I thought, okay lah, straightforward, because breakfast will be 2 bananas and a glass of milk. Lunch will be 4 bananas and 2 glasses of milk. Dinner, you just add more lah. So I thought, okay, what? No, straightforward. So it's the whole concept falls apart. So it's not what we eat, the quantity consumed is also very important. Yes? We need to be very careful with that. So again, therefore, I think there's a saying in Tamil, அளவுக்கு மிந்தினால் அமிர்தமும் நஞ்சம் சொல்லுவாங்க தமிழ்ல. So it means whatever we consume in excess, it becomes poisonous to the body. So we need to take note of that. Then Swami talks about milk, and he goes very detailed. He says, don't take a cup of thick milk. Wow, interesting. So sometimes when we go to Mama, I say, Mama, Milo ice cow. Means what? Put a lot of condensed milk, right? Make it thick and taste is good. So Swami is saying, hey, don't take a very thick cup of milk. Comparatively, he said, thick milk contains plenty of fat and calcium, and also it's liberally laced with glucose. So therefore, that's why you find certain homes, they have the practice of, if the milk is thick, right, they boil it with water as well to reduce the the thickness, and it tends to be healthier. He does talk about that. And he goes on a bit more and he says, okay, so what if I consume too much of glucose? See, Swami is writing like a medical doctor here. He's the doctor of all doctors. He says, when blood is saturated with too much of glucose, it turns residual glucose into acid. So he talks about all of this now. So when I was reading, oh my God, Swami goes down to medical details. The result is that it develops boils. So he says you can get boils in the body, yeah? And this acid and the blood combines to form stones in the gallbladder. Again, see? So again, sometimes you may think, oh, why am I having gallbladder issues? I don't eat meat. I don't consume alcohol. I don't smoke cigarette. I'm eating healthy. Then we have to reflect, what are we consuming? If it's milk, is it excessive of milk? So is it fruits? Is it excess of fruits? So again, here moderation is very important, yeah, because sugar, there's a connectivity between glucose and also gallbladder stones, yeah, in the gallbladder. So very important. And he goes on to say, this one we've heard, and he reiterates this, from a water consumption perspective, at least 7 to 8 cups of water daily. Naveen, do you take 8 cups of water daily, Naveen?
I try my best to finish at least 1 liter.
Very good. Very good. At least so. If you have
one big
water,
bottle, I finish it.
Very good. If you have water in front of you, just take a little bit. Huh?
Oh, yes.
Just to remind ourselves that it's good to drink water. So again, water, Swami says, cleanses your internals and also ensures that stones do not form inside your kidneys. So one of the major issues of kidney stones, and you read that manual prepared by Swami in detail when he talks about this, kidney stone is the function of not having enough water consumption. So very powerful. So we need to remind ourselves that water is so important. So the Malays say, air nadi kehidupan. Very, very important. Yeah. We know this, leafy vegetables. So he goes on to talk about this. Then he also says, it's very good for heart patients, green vegetables, because green vegetables are totally free from oil. But again, here, when we read the details, he goes on to say, yes, green vegetables are important, but it's also how you cook them. So like some of these peas, if you notice, and Swami also talks about consuming these vegetables in raw form. That's why salad's good, he says. Some of these peas, we can consume them raw, clean it nicely, wash it properly, consume raw is also fine. But when we take the vegetables and we cook it up to a point where we don't even recognize either katrikaya, valakaya, and what are we actually eating? So are we putting too much ghee, deep frying it in oil, and then I've seen some people make potatoes. What they do with the potato is they cut the potato small. I like to cook. Mohana knows. I also got a YouTube channel starting on cooking and all that, just for fun. Yeah,
that's good information, man.
Yeah, so I really love to cook. It's called Makan with Murali. I just released one video. One next video will be on char kway teow lah, vegetarian char kway teow. Mohana will give you the link, I believe. So here. So they will cut the potato small, they deep fry the potato, becomes very nice, and they don't stop there. And then they cook it in ghee, put ghee, put the masala, what tastes fantastic. But again here, Swami says, hey, potato is okay, but how we are eating it is very, very important. Yeah? So he goes down to details. So he talks about cholesterol, then he goes one whole chapter on cholesterol. See, cholesterol, he goes like, he gets hyped up about the whole discussion on cholesterol. Cholesterol is essential to some extent. We need some cholesterol for the lubrication. Yeah, it's like when we go for the motorbike, for the cars, we need the oil, right, to lubricate the parts. Likewise, we need this a bit in the body as well. The limit prescribed, Swami says, is 10%. So he even gives us percentage points. But if it crosses 20-30%, he says the nerves become hard. So like rusted pipes, then there's no blood flow. When there's no blood flow, then we know the rest is history. Then we suffer. So he says the heart pumps blood and sends it to the lungs, which purifies the blood. See, he's talking like a doctor now. Distributes the entire body. When the heart pumps less, more and more cholesterol accumulates there, which is dangerous for the heart. He said, therefore, control cholesterol. And he says one of the very important food to have, he said, is white onion. So he says, try eating white onion daily. Vella vangayo, very hard to find. I'm not sure if Klang can get or not. Any one of you have seen a white onion? Subang, hard to get. I rarely find this. In fact, when I find, I will always grab. Because here, he really says this is important. Again, not too much. Oh, Swami Soltare, white onion is good. So we'll only eat white onion, no? But he's recommending the use of white onions.
Hi. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
White onions, I am sorry, Prem here.
Yes, brother.
White onions is Holland onions, right?
I think so, brother.
Yeah, it's because it's white, Yeah, we have plenty of it. We have plenty of it in Klang also.
Got fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't find it here.
Holland onions.
Fantastic.
Okay. Sarah.
And brother Prem is a very good cook. So we all know that.
Yeah, correct.
So again, say he goes down to the details. So and then I ask further, say, okay, as you read, say, what more is Swami saying? He says, so not me saying, actually, we've taken this verbatim from the text, yeah. He says, garlic pills can also be taken daily. Swami is saying, garlic pills, okay. A daily intake of 1 pill after lunch will get rid of cholesterol problem. Not bad. Swami, but he doesn't say which brand lah. Brand only didn't say, but he just said garlic tablets, fine. So again here, I just want to go back to my father. My father died of heart attack at a very young age. When he was 41, he had his first heart attack. When he was 47, he had a second heart attack. When he was 63, the third and final heart attack, and he died. Yeah. So when I trace back his food habits, he had a lot of sugar in his life. Sweet person, but excessive sugar. He loved kesaris and whatever else. And he also consumed a lot of oily food, but he never liked garlic. He will not let Amma use garlic in cooking. Yeah. So we all had that when we used to actually churi makan garlic, without my father knowing. And it was kind of makes sense, and kind of resonates with what Swami is saying. Garlic pills can be taken daily intake, 1 pill. And then Murungaka, Swami says, good for the brain. So children, if you're here online, tell Amma and Appa, if you're sitting for SPM, as Form 6, Standard 6, no more exam break. Never mind lah. If you're school going, college going, eat Murungaka. Good for the brain, Swami says. And can get, I know Klang got a lot of Murungaka tree. Subang also got. So good. Go and put it into our sambar, lentil, dal, and all that. Important. All the potato lovers, bad news, including me. Swami says, don't take too much potatoes. Potatoes contain 80% of starch. They will only make you, they will not, actually I missed the word not only make you slightly fat, but also give you very little in terms of health. Finish lah after this, what to do with potato? Little bit lah, moderation. Tomato, Swami says, very good. But the seeds of the tomatoes may be removed and curry made of the tomato. So again, if you're cooking, for the sisters, brothers, if you're cooking, for me, like what I'm doing now also when I cook, I'm the chief cook at home because I enjoy it. I like being in the kitchen. I remove the seeds because it's actually can become stones. Yeah. So it's very, very important to ensure that as we are cooking from tomorrow onwards, we can remove the seeds of the tomato and then chop it very nicely and goes to the curry or goes to the vegetables, and then is the correct way. So even Swami echoes that. And they remain in the digestive canal for a long time. Yeah. So he talks about that. So again, these pictures, when you see, you'll probably know. He also says, ensure that eating must be in a limited quantity. Chandini talked about that. Now, Malaysians have, I cannot generalize. I must say, I cannot say Malaysians. Let me talk about myself. When I go for a buffet dinner, let's say you are in a 5-star hotel or you're in a wedding, a lot of food, right? Immediately, what does the mind say? I must take everything lah. So never mind, little bit also, everything. Sometimes they have 21 dishes, 24 dishes. Then we go like hotel, the large hotels when I do training and so on. Desserts itself, they might have 12, 13 types of desserts, right? So before I read this work from Swami, trust me, I will whack everything lah. But I also exercise a lot, so I feel that some compensation there. But after reading this some time ago, I think about 2 years ago, is when I first encountered that article or this manual by Swami. I tell myself consciously, okay, there's going to be a buffet lunch today. You're doing training at this hotel, and the desserts are fantastic. But you have a choice of only 3 things, 3 small things. What is it? So if one big thing is either that ice cream or either that ice kacang or either that bubo, which I really love eating bubo on a porridge, sweet porridge. So which one is it? So we have to be careful because I have a history of diabetes in the family. We need to be very conscious about that. So as Swami says, limiting what we eat in limited quantity. Chandini talked about this. You must be able to get up from your plate with the same ease and lightness when we first sat down to eat. This one, how many of us can swear and say, when I sit down for a meal and when I get up, that same weight I feel easy. When I sit down, I get up also no issue. Especially try sitting down eating a banana leaf lah. In a nice banana leaf, can we actually get up easily? So this is what Swami challenges us. He says, you come quite easily to eat, but when you get up, you need support. 4 people need to carry us up, especially after a nice Malayali meal. So Onam is coming, I think, in September. So when Prem and Sudha, they cook, probably about, I don't know, how many dishes, Prem? 15, 16 dishes with the Pradaman and
அதெல்லாம் பண்டு காலத்து பிரதா இப்ப முடியாது வயசாயிச்சு
வயசாச்சுல என்ன செய்யறது. But you see, even my mother last time easily about 21 dishes.
Yeah.
So when you sit down, you need 3 floors to wake you up, wake you up. Sometimes you just sleep there for a while before you can actually become sober again. So it's like that. The Swami says, hey, sit down, get up, must be that same like lah. Very challenging. I say, Swami, very good to read, Swami. Very hard to practice. He said, never mind. Sadhana. Meditation important, service important. But remember, food also very important because with healthy living the sadhana becomes a lot easier and for a prolonged period. So he says, therefore, proportion is very important as it confers health to the body. Swami says. This one. Never take meat, cigarettes, or other intoxicants and drugs. Habitual cigarette smokers develop cancer. Again, he says, so we know. Swami has talked about this often. And he says, yogurt. You see, again, it's like when I wanted to find out a bit more, it's like hitting me hard with these messages, I love every day must eat thyroid, must eat yogurt. If not, your night cannot sleep, a bit difficult sleep. It's attachment to yogurt. So Swami says, avoid taking curds. It's better to take 2 cups of buttermilk instead. Curds have way too much protein, Swami said. So therefore, for the yogurt lovers out here online today, children, adults, we can take yogurt, but small quantity. But what I do now is I mix it with water. So I make it a bit like a moru solluvaanga Tamil mori. So instead of thyroid, I go for moru. Yeah. Once in a while, Lanta, okay lah, there are cheat days, fine, but make sure you burn the excess off. But here again, Swami is very particular. He says they have too much protein that the body may not be able to handle in terms of processing, which is why if I notice now, when I do mindful eating, when I take excess yogurt, I can actually feel the heart getting a bit burned. You feel heartburn, right? You know what a heartburn feels like, you get that. But when you dilute it with water, and then it's fine. So again, it's very scientific lah. Swami talks about. Now Swami says we have to also practice mindful eating. What do you mean by mindful eating? I will share this here. So there are 6 ways to practice mindful eating. Before we look at mindful eating, let's look at mindless eating. That means summa kadikku saaptu masuklah semua lanya. They say you go to nasi kandar, right? Mama join the say, hey tambi apa mau? Mama semua taruh. And full put everything in. We whack lah, mindless. 10 minutes finish. So mindless eating here. 1, eating past full. Past full means we already know full, cannot eat. But go some more, eat some more. Eating when emotions tell us to eat. Sometimes when we're sad, we are bored, we're lonely, watching TV, we eat. This one not very bad lah. Very, very bad. A very good friend of mine, he's aged 53. The wife works with me. She's a colleague of mine in the university. One day he went for his medical checkup. Suddenly the doctor told him, a healthy person, very healthy. Doctor said, hey, 4 of your arteries are blocked, my friend, 80%. You have to do immediate stent on all of this. And you may even need to go bypass. He said, doctor, cannot be. Your machine's correct or not? Because he said, I'm a fit person. I do swimming. I do exercise. Then the doctor asked him, what do you do at nights? He said, at night, I enjoy watching movies with my family. He said, always? So maybe 4 times a week, 4 to 5 times lah. Minimum 4 times a week we watch movies. What do you do when you're watching? And then the story came. He said, ipo kacang. So what is ipo kacang? You know that, you all know ipo kacang putih, right?
The roasted ones, is it?
The roasted ones, plus the mixture they will sell.
Correct.
Klang got lah. The corner shop, you go to Tapu Plana Road, That corner lady will say, wow, really, really tasty. The one in the bottle they put nowadays for easy consumption. When I go to his house, there are 3 bottles there always and full. So and then when he's telling me the story, I said, hey bro, you must be doing this. He said, yeah, I do that. He said, when I start, me and my wife, we don't realize. Once the movie finished, then we realized we almost finished 3/4 of that bottle, the big one, you know that 18 ringgit, 20 ringgit sometimes they sell. That mixture with the murka and the kacang and whatever, every night. At 4 o'clock, okay? Serious, true story. So this is called mindless eating. So we say mindful eating, we are eating very slowly. We're just focusing on the act of eating. And we're also concerned with where the food is coming from, and we're very grateful. So let's do a quick practice of mindful eating now. Let me stop sharing. This is where you get whatever little food that you have. So me being a sweet tooth, I've got a nice piece of chocolate in front of me. So take out whatever you want. Can be Sattvic food, can be this one, not very Sattvic, but one okay lah. One Ferrero Rocher is okay, but not bad. Right?
I think we can turn on your videos if you want to.
Yeah, you can turn on video. Well, just teach you how to do mindful eating. Chandini, what are you eating? Murukku. Very good, very good.
I've got a chocolate.
It's Auntie Kasturi in the call. I'm eating her murukku.
Auntie Kasturi, my address 37 Jalan Putra. Murthy, what are you eating?
Cream crackers.
Cream crackers.
Hey, wait, don't eat for who asked Sudha and Prem? Who asked you to eat?
Did not listen to instructions.
Okay. Please stop.
Yeta, don't eat yet. Yeta, wait first. Okay, now show in front of you. Show the food first. So this is how mindful eating is practiced. Okay, you bring. It's like meditation. Okay, when I first learned this, very challenging. I'll tell you why it's challenging. So you look at it first. You look at the food, whatever you have, that biscuit. What do? You bring it closer to your nose. Bring it closer to your nose. Smell it a bit. Close your eyes. It's like meditation. You're smelling it. Oh, I never knew Ferrero Rocher smells so good. Okay, now open your eyes. Feel the texture. Don't eat yet. Okay, Sudha. Feel the texture. Feel it.
Texture. This is banana. How to feel it?
Just touch it, brother. Touch it first. Look at this. Touch the skin, then touch the inner part. Just feel it. Just be very mindful about the banana. If it's like the Ferrero Rocher, it's got hard surface. You see the nuts. Just glaze. And the banana glaze. Look at the lines that are there. Yeah,
beautiful.
More importantly, so stage 1, smell it, right? So this one Swami talks about smelling it, stage 1. Okay, stage 2, feel it. Let the senses touch on it. Stage 3, he says, offer a prayer first. Not necessarily Brahmarpanam. We all do Brahmarpanam, but he said, think of the person or people that have also made it possible for this to be provided to us to eat. Yeah. So after that, so that alone takes 5 minutes. Yeah. Smelling it, sensing it, touching it, then being close. Then take a small bite first, just a small bite. Let the tongue feel the taste. I'm taking a very small bite. Not the whole banana, small bite, and chew 21 times.
You said a small piece, but 21 times, there's nothing else already.
Correct. It will
digest.
It's all melted.
Good, that's the idea. Okay, that's 21 and smaller. Then go for another bite.
Nothing inside, all water ready.
Okay, now man, go for another bite. Again, chew properly.
Yeah, it tastes different.
Absolutely. Only now we realize that there are multiple tastes, right? So and repeat the process. So in other words, the time that we should take to consume a banana, brother, that piece of banana, should be 5 minutes on average. This chocolate should be about 5 to 7 minutes. That piece of murukku again is about 8 minutes. If you're doing mindful eating. And guess what? If you eat a banana for 5 minutes, if you eat one Ferrero Rocher for 5 minutes, you will stop after that. You won't go for the next one.
Tastes like
But
pulao.
if you eat the whole thing very fast, in say 30 seconds, it takes about 30 seconds to finish life. If I eat Ferrero Rocher, my normal self, 30 seconds is done. Then you go for the next one, you go for the next one. So which is why, how long do they give us lunch break in the office?
Half an hour.
Oh, half an hour. Where do you work, Naveen?
In school.
Normally it's 1 hour.
1 hour.
1
1
hour.
hour.
1 hour.
Okay. If
Now
you
that we
go
are at
for
home, it's 2 hours.
2 hours better. If you go for Vipassana meditation, when they do mindful eating, they give you half an hour, but they give you a very small bowl of porridge. You must take half an hour to finish it. Okay. So the whole point of this is being very aware with what we are consuming, the texture of the food, the gratitude of people who are bringing that food in front of us. And when we eat, and the most important thing is you will feel really full if you take that time to digest. That's how Swami says, to reduce the food consumption is to eat slowly. Like my son, second fella, Ajay, I think Prem and Sudha will know him, one Gundu fella, loves to eat. He can finish one plate of rice in 5 minutes. Very fast.
How old is he?
He's 14 now.
Growing child.
Growing child, yeah. I was an
That's like
overgrown child.
Naveen.
So again,
Chandni, come on.
slowing down. Yeah? We have to, when you slow down the eating process, so we are thinking of breathing properly while we're eating and consuming, and being very mindful of what we're eating, then the quantity that we actually require is less, much less. Yeah. So think about it. So we're not saying don't eat, can eat what we like, but eat slowly, eat very slowly. And it's recommended to really chew the food properly. Because even when we consume sugary stuff, if we are chewing it very nicely, or oily stuff like the vade or the curry puff, chew it properly so the digestive system becomes a lot more, you're simplifying the work for the digestive system so it can consume the food better. Okay. So, right, I still haven't finished the chocolate, never mind. We'll get down to it afterwards. So that's mindful eating. Let me go back to screen share. So how do we practice this? What we do is, as I mentioned, it'll be almost impossible for us to take, I believe, consume that entire time. If it's 1 hour to eat for the entire 1 hour, no. But what is recommended is to slow down that eating process. So be very mindful and remember the 3 steps. One is just look at the food for a while. Just say, thank you for the food. Be very grateful for having that meal, and then consume very slowly. And if we can, not to converse. I mean, if you're eating alone, it's easy, but with family, sometimes you can chat. But again, what we are talking about is also important. So, I mean, speak good things because when we are consuming the food, the thoughts are also there. The energy is also into the food. So have discussions that are meaningful. So at the background while you're eating, running Vedam, running bhajans, it's highly, highly, highly advisable because the mind automatically is tuned for positive eating, it's called. So think about that. So other aspects, remember, this is for all those who are cooking. Even before starting to cook and all that, Swami says, even pray for the pots and the pans. Thank you. You know, chant Gayatri mantra while we're cooking. The cook itself, purify yourself by chanting mantra, prayer before food. Like when I cook, especially if, you know, there are guests and all that coming, I really make a point to ensure that I offer a prayer while I'm cooking throughout the process and thanking the utensils, thanking the fire, thanking the pots and pans. And somehow you find that the things just work, they come out naturally. They become very seamless. So key takeaway from that discussion for about 15 minutes, including mindful eating. Do research on types of food that Swami has talked about. Consume wisely based on his suggestion. Also make an attempt to practice mindful eating. So if we can practice maybe once a day, a little piece of biscuit, spending 5 to 10 minutes just eating that biscuit, I think we become more aware of the eating habits and we will be able to slow down. Yeah, we'll be able to slow down how much we eat. Okay, let's quickly go to question 2. This is a conversation between doctor and Swami, medical doctor, and the doctor of all doctors, Swami. So doctor says, Naveen, let's do a role play. Naveen, you become Swami, I become doctor. Naveen, can I? So you talk like Swami, okay? In English lah. Telugu also can if you want. So doctor says, Swami, nowadays there's a new disease called chronic fatigue syndrome. Patients complain that they don't have any energy to do anything, Swami. What is the cause, Swami?
Pangaru. No cause like that.
Embodiments of love.
No cause like that. It is low energy because these people waste a lot of energy through bad and polluted thoughts, improper and indiscriminate use of senses. Thus, their energy is drained out and they feel chronic fatigue. If they can replace their polluted thoughts with good thoughts and divert their senses towards the divine, thus thinking good, seeing good, hearing good, and doing good, they can recover the lost energy and can get well.
Thank you, Swami. So this is from, again, the session is recorded. So it's a very interesting, I just took snippets of this. That article is very powerful. A lot of conversations, good points between a doctor, a medical doctor, and Swami on health. So question A, what does Swami response imply in relation to health? Anyone can say, maybe let's just take 2 or 3 responses. What does his reply imply in relation to health? Anything that comes to your mind? Where's our Wakil Rakyat? Chandini, what comes to your mind?
Wakil Rakyat.
Yeah, Wakil Rakyat, Chandini.
I think Swami is trying to say that it is our thoughts that is causing us to feel tired, or this lack of energy. It's not so much of just maybe what we are consuming, but our thoughts as well. So maybe if we are thinking a lot of stress, maybe that's the famous word we like to use nowadays, right? Work stress, family stress, all kinds of stress. So I think maybe that
Zoom
is
stress.
Yes, correct. Too much screen time stress. So I think that's what he's trying to say. It's the way we are thinking and perceiving things that happen around us. That's what's making us feel low in energy or draining our energy, maybe.
Okay, thank you. Any other response? You can do A and B together. What does Swami response imply in relation to health? How can being mindful of our thoughts improve our health? Any volunteers?
And then you just choose somebody's name, and that's what we do in Balvikas.
Okay, let's do the Balvika style. Right?
Yes.
I call people they're very close to so they can scold me. So never mind, Brother Prem.
I know you will be calling me.
Prem / Sudha. Husband and wife can share together.
Okay. Okay. Actually, this is a very, I am not sure, brother. It's more of all the energy that whatever you eat, you spend the energy, and that will decide what you are.
Thank you, Brother Prem.
Murali, sometimes we all sit in front of TV and eat, isn't it? So that is also that type of energy also will go into our body.
Absolutely.
So that is
that is negative.
We have to avoid that That one drain out our energy. I don't know whether it's the right answer or not.
But no, of course. See, sitting in the front of TV is not good.
Yeah, especially eating in front of TV. Correct, absolutely. So while watching Mammootty, even if it's a clear message, my last movie was number 1. A very good movie. It defeats the whole purpose of mindful eating, as we talked about. It's really, So let's see this whole thing now. Swami goes on to talk about food. Now, next one, he goes on to talk about. Thanks for sharing.
I think, Annette, sorry, there's also something in the chat.
Okay, can you read it out to me? Because my screen, I only have the slides.
Yeah, Auntie Ambika has shared, what we see, hear, think must be good, so we have good energy.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Absolutely right. So here, what Swami says is, inner enemies that we have, they sap our energy and happiness. When we say sap, the inner enemies that we have, they drain us tremendously. As a result of that, we feel very tired, we feel very lethargic. Any thoughts on what might these inner enemies be? We probably have heard this before. What are examples of inner enemies that we have? Anyone? Brother Mohana?
The emotions when you're eating.
Perfect. It's not necessarily while you're eating. It can be just, sometimes we just feel.
When you eat or when the food is prepared itself, that kind of environment.
Correct.
So that also affects the quality of the food.
Perfect. Great. So here, what Swami goes on to say, food is one. Remember the early slide that I had? One is food, it's important. And the next thing is the thoughts. Yeah. So there are 6 inner enemies that we have, and they all originate from thoughts. What are the 6 inner enemies that kind of takes away our energy level? It drains us as follows. Number one of the greatest enemy in us is actually called anger. Swami didn't say this. Rajinikanth said this. Anger is the cause of all miseries. One should know how to control it. His dialogue in English. There's another movie in Padayappa. It's Adigama Kovapadra Kombalayum, Adigama Asapadra Ambalayum, Nalla Valde Sanitadla Kadiyadi. Yeah. So one who has excessive anger. I think so. I'm not sure whether it's the other way around, but something like that. So anger is one of the key enemies that we have. So the thoughts of getting angry itself will actually disseminate all of. So we may eat well, very, very nutritious food, very, very sattvic food. But if we by nature itself, we cannot control anger, we cannot manage anger, it causes issues. And anger, consequences of uncontrolled anger, Swami says, there are many, many examples of why anger is bad. One, increases cardiovascular issues. Which is why we say, some people will say, oh, I'm very fit, I'm health freak, I run, I exercise, I do everything, I eat good food. But why am I suffering from? Yeah, because in the office, you're like a mad animal. You're shouting at everybody for little things, no rhyme or reason, scolding. Come to center, you become center chairman, also shouting at all devotees until they want to join different. Oh, I shall not get that anyway. Wrong choice of words. Increased risk of cardiovascular issues. Prolonged anger leads to depression. Prolonged anger. Some people perpetually angry. Little things, they get very angry. Traffic light, somebody horns, they get angry. Lu gila ka saya gila? Siapa gila sekarang? Mau gaduh ka? Turun lah. And we fight. For no, just a simple horn. These are all things. Reduces immune system, Swami says. Anger decreases lung capacity, increases anxiety and blood pressure, overall reduces lifespan. So hurry, too much hurry, very, very fast, too much curry, too much eating, and too much worry takes you to IJN. Yeah, too much hurry, too much curry, too much worry takes you to IJN, because all of this makes us very, very angry. So anger is one important inner enemy that we need to watch, and it arises with the thought. Next one is jealousy, another very powerful inner enemy that we have. Again, not good for health. What is the meaning of jealousy? Oh, yo, Sister Sudha's sari so beautiful. My sari not very beautiful. My husband never buy for me this beautiful sari like Prem. How? See that also, cannot sleep at night. Why? Because Sister Sudha's sari is better than ours. Cannot sleep. Joking lah, I know in Klang doesn't happen. Other places also I hope doesn't happen. Neighbor gets a new car. Oh, you, this fella must be a politician lah, must be making money from giving people empty vaccines and selling it somewhere. You know, all kind of jealousy. Yeah? Cannot see somebody else prosper in life. Another very important inner enemy. Again, originates from the thoughts. Laziness. Students, if we're here, sometimes Amma and Appa will say, hey, do your work now, school holidays, right? School holidays is 1 month, Appa. Why I must do now? You know, I can do on the 29th day of the holiday. Pass up on the 30th day. Laziness also is an inner enemy. Originates from the thought, yeah? Again, Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Ego, very important enemy. All of us, we need some ego. If there's no ego, there's no Mohana, there's no VP for service, there's no leadership. You need to have certain level of ego, but excessive ego is what Swami says have to manage. Don't edge God out in our lives. Don't think that we are na mattum senja nalla irukum. Mattavanga senja satyama mudiyadhu. I am the only one responsible for this. Other fellows no la. This ego we got to watch. Very powerful inner enemy. So ego is a small 3-letter word which can destroy a 12-letter called relationship. Again, it impacts health. Too much of anger, too much of laziness, too much of ego does impact the inner peace in us. So we have to watch that. Ego is also people who blame everything. They blame, they point at somebody else. They all point fingers at other one. And people who are always very egoistic, they always complain, not fair. Why me? Why that flaw, blah, blah. So all this happens. So takeaway 3, we need to recognize our inner enemies. What they are: anger, laziness, pride, jealousy, envy, all this, right? We have to take stock. And we need to make amends to improve them. And we use our strengths to overcome the inner enemies because they're very powerful. So when we balance good, proper intake of food with good thoughts, then life becomes meaningful. Then that journey becomes a lot more easier to manage in life. Yeah? So key takeaway 3. So anger, Sai Baba says, anger, ego, jealousy are the biggest disease. So to live healthy, we have to move away from disease, right? So keep yourself aloof from these 3 anger, ego, jealousy. These 3 things, if we can manage well, life is going to be very beautiful. Yeah, it's going to be very beautiful. Anger, ego, jealousy. So the other important thing for us to live healthy, Swami talks about, we can heal ourselves. We have the healing power in us, whether we believe this or not. Yeah? Because it's a very powerful mantra that we might be familiar. It's called the I am complete mantra in English. In Sanskrit, it's Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyade Om Shanti Shanti. I am complete. I am wholesome. I am whole. I am cosmic. So therefore, that feeling of, this too shall pass. This pain in me shall also be healed. That comfort level we must have. I'm not saying that we'll live forever, we'll become immortal. Yeah, there won't be suffering. There will be, but we will be comforted by ourselves. Yeah, so self-healing. Swami talks about this, and therefore to practice self-healing, awareness is important. The mind level. So to control the mind, managing thoughts is very, very important. So what comes in, not only the food that goes in here, Swami talks about the thoughts, what's coming in, what are we thinking about? Are we always thinking about doing harm? Are we always thinking about, I should bring down someone. I should be the cause of downfall for somebody else. So we need to understand the mind and we need to become aware of our thoughts. That's why Swami says, beware and be aware of the thoughts. It's very important. Yeah. And as a result of the thoughts, so would be the actions, he says. So again, body is made up of 70% water, 30% solids. Therefore, again, he goes back to food. He says, we should consume food in this proportion. That means liquids should be about 70% and 30% seems eat less, consume more liquids in terms of what's suggested. Not easy to do. And the water content in our body reacts and responds to the phases of the moon. We've heard about this. It controls the mind. It has an impact on the mind. Water also reacts to the environment, words, thoughts. And again, when he says consuming water is very, very important, which is why the water, before we drink, also slowly be mindful drinking, not straight gulping the water. Again, having a prayer of thanks and so on, because the water is very sensitive. And again, here the experiments, you may have heard of Masaru Emoto studies, message in water. Yeah, he's very powerful study. If you have heard this, time you can switch off for a while, but you can hear it again if you want. But especially for children, it's a scientific experiment by this Japanese professor who shows that water, they are influenced by words, they are influenced by thoughts. This is spring water in Saijo, Japan, very pure, not many people. Very beautiful. The water crystallization or the molecularization of water becomes very nice, like diamond shaped, you can find, very beautiful. Then here he looked at fountain water in Lord's, France. Again, very nice, beautiful shape. So he gathered all this using microscopy technology. Yeah? Then again, he looked at water, how messages of water by just putting certain words in front of water, offering of prayers. Before prayers were offered, look at the structure of the water, look at the structure of the molecule. is very not very nice to see. But after they offered prayers, immediately look at the crystals, how they form. This is all he's showing through scientific experiments. Swami talks about the importance of water consumption, importance of the mindset when we're consuming water, importance of the thought process when you're consuming water. Swami has talked so many times. Masaru Emoto in Japan is proving this through his scientific experiments. You utter the word, you make me sick. Look at how the water molecules break. Words like Adolf Hitler, just putting the word Adolf Hitler in front of the water bottle makes it become this form. Mother Teresa, look at the form. Just putting the word, not even saying the words, yeah? So therefore, what we learn from this water project here is that words have power. Thoughts have power. So we need to use them wisely, because in healthy living is also about how healthy are not only we, but people around us, are they also healthy? And we have a major role with what we say. If we are the type from morning till evening, always grumbling, always shouting at the spouse, always shouting at the children, always getting angry, calling them stupid, you make me sick, நீ நாசமா போட உருப்பட மாட்ட, சத்தியமா நான் சொல்றேன் உனக்கு வந்து ஃபியூச்சரே கிடையாது, finish. Not only the water in them, because 70% of our body consists of water, not only the water in them, in us also it becomes like this, because the thoughts are there. So which is why Swami says, always think good, think good, think good, think good, think good, for this reason. Because 70% of the molecularization, do we want it to look like Mother Teresa, or do we want it to look like you make me sick? So high school project in Thailand, when I was there for 4 days, they also did with paddy plants, you know. One side, the students will pray every day. The other side, they will go to the plants and say, you will die. You are not beautiful. You are ugly. And they will chant Hindu chants, the Buddhist chants every evening. The growth rate was almost 3 times faster. Survival almost 100% here. Here is only, 3% survived. Thanks to nature, 3% survived, the plants. So all these are multiple experiments. So therefore, if water can be influenced by thoughts, can you imagine us? Yeah. So how we drink water, how we consume it. Now we know why they have Tirtham, Abhishekam in the temple. People rush for it. Now we know why. It's charged. Frankly, we believe very good, because it's infused with that energy, the chanting, the Vedic hymns, the prayers, the mantras, and we take. So God, that positivity generated, I'm consuming it now. So again, signs of this. So again here, let's quickly do this mudra. Hold your hands like this. This is not Baba's mudra, gatam gatam, budjeda bochino, something like that. But it's not that. This is called the infinite love and gratitude mudra for healing. So I can't see you now, but I hope you can see the screen. You can see my hand. So if you can hold this hand, Prem, you can do for Sudha. Sudha, you can do for Prem. Brother Murthy, you can do it for your wife. Brother Murthy's wife can, Mrs. Brother Murthy, Sister Murthy can do for your husband. If your side, all you need to do, if they are going through certain level of pain, if you have a particular pain in your body, what you need to do is just chant this infinite love and gratitude. Just use your hand. Let's say my hand is, I have a pain here. I just chant these 3 words, infinite love and gratitude, infinite love and gratitude, infinite love and gratitude. Feel Swami in the heart as you're doing this. This is called the healing mudra. Yeah. So just here, if you're feeling sad, you're feeling miserable, just go around. Just go around your body. Just go try it. And this is an experiment by, again, another scientist, Dr. Is that thing on my screen? I can't see it, but it's up there. Dr. Daniel Weissman. Yeah, and he wrote the Power of Now, the power of infinite love and gratitude. So this is boy age 9 with symptoms of severe migraine headaches. Again, the molecularization, the structure. So using just that mudra, infinite love and gratitude, release a subconscious feeling of internalized anger towards his parents because of the divorce. So he became this because parents went through a divorce, feeling very depressed. So what the doctor did is just doing this for him over a period of time, and healing happens. So here, when we have pain, somebody is in pain, somebody is not well, just use the mudra. Just chant infinite love and gratitude, infinite love and gratitude. Or you can even chant the Gayatri mantra, whatever mantra you're comfortable with. The mudra is very, very powerful in that sense. Yeah. So think about this. So again, here, a healing technique. Takeaway 4. we are our own placebo. That means we have the power to heal ourselves, or at least minimize the suffering that we're going through, if we can be happy with ourselves. Yeah. There's another one. I'm not sure if you've heard of the Ho'oponopono saying. It's very powerful. It's a Hawaiian prayer. Just download this from YouTube. There's even songs made of this. There are 4 statements. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm not sure how much time I have. Very short time left. But again, this is a story of Dr. Hugh Lian in Hawaii, who came up with this. He was supposed to cure patients who were very wild. They were very mentally challenged patients in a prison. They were all prison inmates, about 40 of them in Hawaii. Yeah? But his technique was very different. He didn't set foot to the prison, but what he requested for, he said, I want the files of every single patient, every single inmate in the prison, and I want to do healing for them. So he would take every day, he would go through one file, and he did it over a few years to reduce that, to make them more calm. So he would just keep chanting this, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. So what his philosophy was, it is not them that are challenged. It is me. There's this disease, there's this impurity in me that I need to clean. And he will visualize them as he's cleaning himself, he's cleaning his own mind frame about them. And he would work on every single inmate. Over time, they were cured. Every single one was released. Yeah? And he wrote a book called The Power of Zero Limits. He wrote Zero Limits with another author. And this has become so powerful. And this is just a saying that we have. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. You can use it for any purpose, for healing, a prayer for someone, just sitting down after your meditation of your mantra. Just forwards. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. It's called the Ho'oponopono. You can download. I will send Brother Murthy a few more articles and some videos about this. It's very powerful, and it does help with many situations. A lot of the parent care, I also do parent care training. So we teach this as one of the modules in parent care. And we find a lot of parents come back and tell us that they will chant this for the child who's going through certain issues, and they find them amazingly. They look at transformation happening. Yeah? So again, this is called the Ho'oponopono. So last but not least, if you look at healthy living, we have to manage thoughts, because when we manage thoughts are driven by external stimulus. If I see Naveen, am I getting agitated? Am I feeling happy? If I see Swami, you're feeling happy. But when I see somebody else, I'm feeling agitated. Why? So we have to manage the thoughts. So thought shapes feelings. Feelings shapes our action. Action shapes reaction. Example, somebody horns us in the traffic light. Do we horn back? Get angry? Then we get into road bully, road rage. The whole experience become very negative. Yeah. So again, thought management is also as equally important, Swami says, as managing the food intake, and be aware of the external stimulus, because we are being challenged by so many things now. Doesn't help with the politicians that we have. Very challenging. Sometimes, however calm you are, you get agitated as well. Takeaway 5. Our health actually has more to do with our thoughts relative to our food, Swami says. Our thoughts are largely influenced by our relationship at home, at work, the role we play in society, and therefore we have to be very aware of all of this. Yeah. So be happy, be happy, be happy. Swami says, when you are happy, when we are happy, he is happy. Sairam, thank you. I hope that we've kind of aired together tonight, shared together. Hope it's made some meaningful sense to our life. I'll stop sharing. Any questions? We probably have about 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Anand. Thank you so much. I think that was a brilliant sharing. Something very different. We've not really had a topic like this before. So it's really, really nice sharing. And the floor is open for any questions. Anyone's got any question, you can please just unmute your microphone. And I'm sure Anand will be very happy to answer the questions for you. Or if you're shy to speak, you can also type in the chat box.
Sairam, this is Mani. I would like to thank Prof. A simple yet profound, and at my age, I think I'll need to start following everything you said. Thank you very much, brother.
Brother, you're still young, brother. You look like
very young.
I love this song, this song by By now, I think you know lah. Follow Swami very, very closely in the heart. For entertainment, I follow Rajni. Very powerful song, huh? Very, very powerful
Very
song.
powerful, yeah.
Which 8 stage? He said, break your life into 8 years, 8 years, 8 years. Which 8 we are is actually that awareness. So now I'm 50 this year, right? So I mean that, you know, 8, the 4th, entering into 5th sector of 8, going to 6th sector of 8 already, 48, at least 7th sector of 8 already, as you reach 56. So the purpose of life has to be different. The focus will naturally be different. I think it's very important.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Murali, for a wonderful study circle. Really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Oh, nice to see all of you. Chechi, long time we haven't.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Long time. Very nice to see you.
After everything finished, we'll meet up.
Definitely. I really miss 2 things in Klang. Used to go there very regular for bhajans. And also after that will be the cockroach mama stall for that one.
There is no more, brother. No more. Gone.
No more already. That one.
Gone.
Nasi lemak goreng, is it?
Cockroach mama gone. Those
Gone,
days were nice.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, any questions?
Anne, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, Wakil Rakyat Klang, of course can.
Anne, I'm not Klang now, but okay, never mind. What is your take on mock meat? So, you know, we have a lot of this vegetarian fish, vegetarian chicken, and people who are vegetarian like to, you know, consume that. What is your take on that?
Sariyana kelvi. Avoid it if you can. Because it's not healthy. Thank you, Sister Rata, for sharing. It's not healthy because it's actually chemicals and they use a lot of MSG. Let me give you some substitutes for that. Yeah. Plant-based replacements are fine. So if you look at the Impossible Foods, Impossible Burgers that are plant-based, that are fine, not genetically modified, slightly more expensive, but okay. So if you really want to feel like having a burger, it's pretty pricey, but it's fine because it's purely plant-based and they don't use the mock stuff and so on. No chemicals. Everything is made with organic. That's one. And the other one that I found recently, which I use a substitute as if you want to make mock chicken or whatever, it's called lion mane mushroom. It's really nice. It's really nice.
Where you buy it? Naveen loves it.
Lazada sells it, by the way.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I just discovered. We have this agreement at home. I cook, so the CEO would buy online. So just tell the wife, hey, we're running out of this.
Really, I tried your cooking. Very nice. Oh, you're a very good cook, lah. You remember when we came to your house?
Can't challenge your husband, lah.
But wonderful.
Yeah, so we hopefully after the pandemic we have a nice makan thing. Yeah, lion mane mushroom is one, and then I think mushroom substitutes are okay, lah. Should be okay. But if you have once in a while you're really craving for it and you want to have that mock stuff, I think it's okay, but not on a daily basis. Yeah, so a daily basis is really risky.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Any other questions, anyone?
Saira, Nirmala here.
Saram, sister, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Yeah, no, I just want to know the mudra healing.
Yeah.
Why do we exactly put the finger in that position?
Actually, these are pressure points if you have, yeah. So there's a whole science behind mudra itself. There are books written on the mudra itself. So these are pressure points that you have. So these pressure points, when you have it has a calming effect on our mind immediately. So it allows us to really quickly sink in and become what we call into the bliss domain. It goes very fast. So when we are at that stage of very calm and our natural state, then when we're doing this for someone else, we're actually transmitting very pure energy and love. So that the pressure points lah. So this is actually hitting at your heart, spiritual heart.
So we can use any hand, right hand, left hand?
Can, right or left, it doesn't matter. But if you can do both, good. Actually, what I'm not sure how many of you know this, but Naveen, I'm taking time. I just want to share.
Yeah,
I actually lost my job during the pandemic and I was actually a bit down for a while. Yeah. So my wife used to do this every night for me. And I wasn't down as in down, depressed or what, no, but she actually felt that my energy level is not that high. So what she did is every night, I didn't know this, yeah. When I was sleeping, she would actually chant this. She would just use this mudra and chant Gayatri mantra for me. And very soon after, many of us actually came back for jobs. So, and I don't think they have a coincidence lah. I think power of prayer really helps in that sense.
Thank you. Thank you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Maybe we can take one more. We can probably take one more if there are any. No? Okay, so I guess that's it. Thanks again, Anna. Thank you so much for the sharing. I think it was really brilliant. And a few takeaway points here that we can really practice also, like mindful eating and, making sure we portion our food and basically taking the right food, and also the thoughts that we have inside, the actions that we do, getting rid of the 6 enemies. These are all things that we should definitely think about and practice as much as we can. But I think the most important thing is you can do what you want, but always make sure it's in moderation.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think
well
that is something that we have to remember. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
And thank you everyone for joining us today. Tomorrow morning is Guru Purnima. So please don't forget, we have a 5:30 a.m. prayer. You can go and sleep after this and wake up in the morning for prayers. Okay, and don't forget, there's also the evening program, a beautifully structured program all ready for all of us. So once again, let's put our hands together to thank Brother Murali here for sharing this wonderful session. We will end with 3 Ohms and Samastaloka.
I mean, also Sunday morning, there's the National Sadhana Camp, just to remind
everyone.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. There is also a National Sadhana Camp. The flyer will be shared in the announcement groups. So you can always follow that and join in that session as well.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you so much. We'll end with the prayer. Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.